Well, welcome to the webinar, everyone. It's another Wednesday. It's another opportunity for us to learn. Today is all about understanding cholesterol. So let's kind of jump in. First, what is cholesterol? See, a lot of people think they know what it is, and they're immediately going to say, "Oh, it's HDL, LDL." No. Cholesterol is basically that waxy, odorless substance made by the liver. That's right, it's made by your liver. That is an essential part of cell walls and nerves, and found in every cell in the body. Now, it's not just made by the liver. There also are what we refer to as dietary cholesterols, which we'll get into in a second. But we need to understand that cholesterol, and it's, or what we refer to as blood cholesterol, is actually something produced by the liver, something that we actually make ourselves when we need it. And in fact, it is not even considered an essential nutrient. And the reason why it's not considered an essential nutrient, in other words, something that you must consume or supplement with, and the reason why it's not an essential nutrient is because our body makes whatever it is we need. So as a result, cholesterol is simply that substance that's made that's part of every cell wall. And that becomes very important if you understand that it's part of everything. Now, I will have to address this issue. There is a great amount of controversy right now with regard to cholesterol. We're going to talk about a lot of things today. We are going to talk about statin drugs. We are going to talk about findings in different types of cholesterol. We are going to talk about arterial clotting and blockage and things of that nature. And we're going to teach you what those things are. We are not here, though, to engage in the debate as to whether or not cholesterol, levels of cholesterol, or statin drugs in and of themselves are beneficial, harmful, have any effect, or anything else. We are going to give you some facts today to let you make an informed choice and seek information from your medical practitioner. But if you've read some of the French studies, if you've read some of the European studies that have basically said, hey, we don't even know if cholesterol really has anything to do with heart disease, or if you're looking at more of the US-based studies that say cholesterol has everything to do with heart disease, and most importantly, the combination of cholesterol and triglycerides is where the information really is. We are not here today to engage in that debate. That's not what this is about. The whole purpose of these Wednesday Lunch and Learns is not to take a political side or to pick and choose. It is to give you the information to make an informed choice, to ask the right questions, to get the information from your medical professionals, your nutritional professionals, from your pharmaceutical companies, whatever the case may be, to get the information you need in order to make that informed choice, because guess what? We are responsible for our health. No one else is. We can't blame it on the doctors. We can't blame it on the caregivers. We have to blame ourselves. We need to be our own champion. We need to understand that when a doctor gives us a pharmaceutical, why we are taking it, what the effect it's going to have on our body, and most importantly, how it's going to affect us in other ways with regard to the side effects and other things that we do in our life. So that's my PSA on the controversy issue that we are not going to engage in today. First thing you need to know. 1 in 3 Americans have high cholesterol. Let's let that set in for just a second. 1 in 3. So if you're sitting here right now, think about the number of people that you see jumping online to watch this Lunch and Learn. 1 out of 3 of you have high cholesterol as we sit here right now. The issue is a lot of people don't even know they have it or what effect it's having on them. But the reality is this is a real issue. Part of the reason why this is so prevalent is because 74% of our population is obese. That's one of the major contributors to high cholesterol, but 1 in 3 of us suffer. So, did you know? Cholesterol gets around the body via lipoproteins, made up of fats or lipids and proteins, hence the name. So when you hear HDL and LDL, they are sometimes confused, or high-density lipoprotein and low-density lipoproteins. They are sometimes confused as HDL and LDL are your cholesterol. Actually, those aren't cholesterol. Those are the lipoproteins. Those are the delivery agents, if you will, of the cholesterol. So just know that cholesterol is getting around our body by these lipoproteins that are known as HDL and LDL. Here's an interesting fact. 75% of the cholesterol in the body is made or created naturally by the liver. 25% comes from the foods we eat. Now, if you happen to be vegetarian and or vegan, these numbers do not apply to you. And the reason they don't apply to you is because there is no cholesterol in plant-based diets. In that case, guess what? 100% of the cholesterol in your body is coming from your liver. Again, the cholesterol is not an essential nutrient because our body will make what we need. So as a result, just know that nationally, the average is 75% of the cholesterol in our body is created naturally, 25% coming from the foods we eat, and those are the animal-based products that we consume. So, the two forms of cholesterol are referred to as blood cholesterols and dietary cholesterols. Both are fat soluble. That's right, they're not water soluble, which means they will attach, they will stay in the body. So we got to figure out a way to get them out to the extent that they need to get out and hope that they don't cause arterial plaque or contribute to the arterial plaque in the arterial walls of the heart and other places in the body that can help contribute to heart disease, stroke, and other related issues. So the two forms known as blood and dietary. In simple form, blood is that created by the liver, dietary that we consume. So blood cholesterol. There are two types of lipoproteins that carry cholesterol through the blood. First is HDL. Now this is the one that, it's basically considered the good lipoprotein because it carries the cholesterol away from the arteries and back to the liver where it can be removed from the body. So we consider this the good one. This is the number that we want to be higher. So remember, this is not, we want all cholesterol to be low. We want our HDL to be higher. So the high density lipoprotein, or the HDL, we want to be high. We want it to be an elevated number, and don't worry, I'll give you those numbers here in just a second. But remember, HDL is the good, and low density lipoprotein is the bad lipoprotein because it does just the opposite. Too much lipoprotein can lead to clogged and narrowing of arteries and inflammation. It's the thing that basically helps create the arterial plaque. So if you think highs and lows, think back to your church days, high heavens and lows hell, if you have those belief systems. What you're looking at is that's an easy way for you to always remember HDL is the good, LDL is the bad. So, dietary cholesterol. The cholesterol naturally found in animal origin foods. Plant-based foods do not contain any cholesterol. Let me say this again. Plant-based foods do not contain any cholesterol. And the reason why I say that is simple. There's a tip that you need to understand. And this is where, food marketers can sometimes be out of control. If you see advertising for a plant-based product in the store, like nut butters, I'm talking like peanut butter and things of that nature, and almond butter and things, that make a cholesterol-free claim, know that they didn't remove the cholesterol, it just wasn't there to begin with. Again, is it true that these items are cholesterol-free? Absolutely, it's true. They are cholesterol-free because it was never there in the first place for them to make it cholesterol-free. But if that tries to help you differentiate between what you're currently eating and you get to buy their product, then guess what? Those advertisers are going to put that on there in the hopes that you make that decision. Just don't be duped. It's just really, if you are eating an animal origin food, that can be dairy, cheeses, or animal proteins, and you name which one you want to consume, those are going to have natural occurring cholesterol. If you're eating plant-based foods, nuts, seeds, plants, guess what? No cholesterol. Here's an interesting fact. Even if you ate no animal foods, and we talked about this, your body would still produce cholesterol from the liver to make hormones, vitamin D, and the substances necessary to assist in the digestion of food, or what we refer to as bile. So that's right. Because cholesterol is essential in the making of hormones in our body. Hormones are the things that keep us operating the way that we were intended to operate, from testosterone to estrogen to melatonin to creatine, you name it. All the hormones in the body, cholesterol contributes to the making of those. We also contribute cholesterol to the making of the vitamin D in our body. This is something essential, especially for naturally occurring sunlight that we expose ourselves to or fail to expose ourselves to. It seems more likely in this country nowadays. And of course, the bile to help the stomach digest the food. That's where it is all going and coming from. So, know your numbers. Healthy cholesterol levels, at least as of right now, this is what we still believe to be true. We want it to be under 200. We want the LDL, or the bad, remember, LDL low, so we want that bad cholesterol to be under 100. HDL high, we want that to be good. We want that to be above 60. So that's right, we want the LDL below 100, we want the HDL above 60, but we want the total to be under 200. You're at risk if you have levels between 200 and 239, or an LDL above 100 and 159 or lower, or HDL at 41 to 59. Remember, it's not just the total, it can also be the individual numbers, and of course then you're in the danger zone if you're over 240, your LDL is above 160, or your HDL is below 40. So each one of those numbers is something that you should put into your memory banks, pull out your blood work, check your cholesterol levels. This is not something that your doctors will always talk to you about. The reason why is because, your LDL level at your last checkup may have been 99. And your HDL level may have been at 60. And guess what? You may have been told, hey, everything looks good because you're within range. The reality is you are on the cusp, or you're on the standing, on the line, if you will, of being at the at-risk category. This is where you can't just rely on the information that you get from your medical professional. You need to understand what the numbers are, you need to understand what they mean, and you need to understand what it's telling you with regard to some changes and diet and lifestyle modifications you might need to make to improve that. So again, this is one of those little PSA announcements with regard to know your numbers, and this is even more important when it comes to your blood work. Here's an interesting fact. Where does arterial plaque actually come from? Cholesterol is the one that gets all of the bad press these days, it seems like, but the reality is arterial plaque is a combination of cholesterol, fat, and calcium. Those are the three areas that actually contribute to arterial plaque. So, you have to watch your fat consumption as well. Remember, there are good fats and there are bad fats. Fats are necessary to basically feed the brain. Remember, if you are not eating fats, if you're on that fat-free diet type concept, watch out for those people, because mentally they're going to be fogged and fatigued, and they're not going to have the focus that they typically do. Fat is essential, but you need to understand the difference between good fats and bad fats. We've done lunch and learns on fats, and that not all fats are created equal. I would highly recommend you go back and watch that and learn what I'm talking about there. But this is basically the bad fats, the bad cholesterol, and calcium combined to create the arterial blockage and or plaque that is in our hearts and other parts. Did you know 1.5 million Americans suffer from a genetic condition called familial hypercholesterolemia, try to say that 3 times fast, that causes someone to have high cholesterol, often from a young age, due to the body's inability to remove LDL from the blood? So remember, I told you earlier, the best part about the HDL is it basically delivers the cholesterol. It's the lipoprotein that is going to deliver cholesterol through the arterial arteries and back into the liver so it can be removed from the blood. Well, people that suffer from this condition, roughly 1.5 million people, have a genetic polymorphism that does not allow them to do that. So as a result, guess what? Genetically, they are always going to have high cholesterol. These are the people that can really benefit potentially from drug therapies and other things, because their body just genetically isn't working the way that it was designed to. So just know that you may have lost the genetic lottery, and it may be that it is more associated with that than it is your diet and lifestyle, though people that have this condition can do a lot with diet and lifestyle modification to try and limit its ill effects. Let's talk about this for a second. The cholesterol thing seems to be like a total PSA, but I want people to understand the typical cardiac management protocol in the U.S. Because if you understand this, you'll understand why cholesterol and the issues associated with cholesterol are just like high blood pressure that we talked about last week. It's kind of a warning sign. It's kind of like the body saying, hey, look, we have a problem. We need to make a change. Diet, lifestyle contributed to this, unless, of course, you have the genetic disposition that we just talked about. The reality is most people are going to ignore it. So the typical traditional cardiac rehab is we're going to start out with a rehab system. We're trying to get you, to diet and lifestyle modify. You're not going to do that. So guess what? We're going to start giving you prescriptions. In this particular case, we're talking about statin drugs, and we're about to go into those and what they do. Then we're going to go to the implanted devices, the rotor-rooters, and then if, of course, we still don't change, we're going to go to the surgery element. So what we basically say is this is the pill, potion, lotion surgery model. It's basically we're going to start out with a pill, then a combination of pills that we call a potion, then the lotion is some type of rotor-rooter or implanted device, and then, of course, surgery is the ultimate biological change that we're going to make to the heart by doing open bypass or some other thing. All of this is putting a Band-Aid on the problem. Just realize most of the issues associated with your heart are all related to the food that you are putting in your mouth and the lack of movement that your body is doing on a regular basis. Diet and lifestyle modification can greatly contribute to this, and let's be real, one of the only things scientifically proven ever to reverse heart disease, reverse it, has been a plant-based diet. Not that we advocate, being a vegetarian or vegan. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I'm just saying that scientifically, the only thing ever proven to reverse heart disease was, in fact, a plant-based diet. And this is coming from someone who grew up on a farm with animals and livestock and other related things that I still consume on a regular basis. But I'm telling you, as somebody, if you suffer from heart disease or you have an issue, a plant-based diet may be your biggest and fastest cure to your problem. So let's talk about statins. Now remember I said I wasn't going to go on a political rant. I was not going to take sides on the controversy related to cholesterol and things of that nature. So the idea here is, while it's going to sound like this is an attack on statins, and I'm kind of preparing you for it, the reality is these are just the facts. Verifiable. You can go check them yourself and find out all of the information that's out there. But let's kind of jump in and get it for you. 1 in 4 Americans right now are taking a statin drug. That's right. So if you look at the number of people that are on this webinar right now, 1 in 4 of you are on a statin drug of some type. Some of you that I know are on this webinar, I've talked to you about these statin drugs already personally. But this is something that a lot of you are on. Here is a fact with regard to statins. First and foremost, they're going to reduce the effectiveness of vitamin K2, the nutrient critical to protect against calcification in coronary arteries. K2 is kind of the delivery method. It's kind of the traffic cop. It's basically helping push nutrients that we're consuming and other of the cholesterols, fats, and calcium through the arterial walls of the heart and into the body's organs and systems that need it. When we take a statin drug, it reduces the effectiveness of vitamin K2. And we just need to know that. The other thing that a statin drug does is completely depletes the body of vitamin CoQ10. That's the nutrient necessary to protect the heart muscle. One of the warnings that you can get from Health Canada is that if you suffer from congestive heart failure and you're on a statin drug, while you may stop the heart attack, you very well may cause heart failure. CoQ10 is a nutrient necessary for heart muscle health, and statin drugs completely eliminate the body's production of CoQ10 naturally. So if you're on a statin, know somebody who is, or just are even considering taking a statin, you need to know that CoQ10 is something that you need to learn about, you're going to have to supplement with, and unfortunately is one of those things, and a large percentage of the population, when they get prescribed a statin, don't find out this information. It is in the 17 pages of literature that you get about the statin drug, and yes, I'm not even exaggerating. It seems like the information that you get with a statin goes on forever. But it is embedded in there that, hey, by the way, this CoQ10 thing happens, so you might want to consider supplementation. In this particular case, we're giving you the information so that you can do the right thing. Here's something proven by the expert review of clinical pharmacology. For every 100 people prescribed a statin drug, and remember the whole idea behind a statin is to lower your cholesterol. That's what we're talking about here. And the whole idea behind there is to stop the heart attack, prevent the heart attack. For every 100 people that is prescribed a drug, it stops 1 heart attack. So this is what we would call a 1 to 100 effective rate. That's right. So in order to stop a heart attack, 100 people have to take the drug, and that's the current number that we're dealing with right now. These are just stats, folks. I'm just giving you the number. Does that mean that anything other than the statins are not having an effect, or are they working? Who knows? I mean, they did win the Nobel Prize for medicine. There's all kinds of information about them, but one of the things you need to look at on the statins is this, because of those 100 people that took it and only one stopped a heart attack, 100 out of 100 are most likely going to suffer one of these side effects. Common side effects include muscle pain, headaches, nosebleeds, clouded thinking or mental fog, increased blood sugar. That's right, it can actually contribute to causing type 2 diabetes, sore throats, and sexual dysfunction. Those are the common side effects. The less common side effects to statin drugs are digestive problems, including vomiting, loss of appetite, sleep disturbances, so that will inhibit your sleep, and lack of sleep, or our inhibition to sleep, or our willingness to, basically not sleep as much as we should, is the number one cause of disease in this country. You also have dizziness, blurred vision, and ringing in the ears. Liver damage and hepatitis can be contributed to here. Inflammation of the pancreas or pancreatitis, itchy red rash, physical weakness and tiredness, blurred vision and other disturbances, bruising and bleeding, and yellowing of the skin and eyes. You notice something about the side effects here. Unlike the typical statin commercial, I did not read the side effects in 8 seconds. I'm not a speed reader. I'm trying to make a point. And the point I'm trying to make is whether or not you're on a statin drug or any other type of pharmaceutical, you need to spend the time to understand what the common side effects and other side effects are, so that if you start suffering from something new, if you start having an issue with the drug, you need to get medical advice as fast as possible and understand that these are things that build up over a period of time. It very well may be that, it's kind of like, walking towards the edge of a cliff. If you're ignoring the fact that the cliff edge is coming and you keep going and you wait until you fall off the edge, not many people, when they fell off the edge of the cliff, get to turn around and walk back because they realize they made a mistake. You need to understand what these things are and understand what they're doing to you. Now, again, factual. The average American will spend between $70 and $150 per month for life on a statin prescription. Now, does it have to be for life? Is this reversible? Can I lower my cholesterol? Absolutely, you can. Unless, of course, you have a genetic issue, and then, of course, you may not be able to, and this may just be the lot in life because you lost the genetic lottery. But the reality is diet and lifestyle modification can have an effect on your cholesterol levels. The reason why people, once they get on a statin drug, are on them for life is because Americans, we just simply do not change our diet and lifestyle. It's too hard. What we want is to keep doing everything that we're currently doing, and for medicine to give us a pill, a potion, or a lotion so that we can keep doing what we've always wanted to do and get a different outcome. And the pharmaceutical companies will have absolutely no problem taking their bag of money to the bank and thanking you for your purchase. You just need to understand this is what you're looking at. This is your cost. So not only is it a cost to your health, it's also a cost to your wallet. Okay, so we've had a lot of PSAs today about cholesterol, but I want to go on something else. Today is Valentine's Day. It's all about, acknowledging the love that you have for the love of your life, telling people how much you care about them, doing the right things. I mean, it's all a, kind of a special day. And yes, it is a commercialized holiday, and not that I necessarily play into that aspect of it, but it does give you an excuse to do something you might not otherwise do on a daily basis, which is be nice to the person that is a significant other in your life. But it also is an opportunity for me to talk about something that is near and dear to my heart. See, ladies, and I want to talk to you specifically right now. You are the mothers of the world. You are the caregivers of the world. You not only manage a workforce, you also manage a homestead. You make sure that everybody is taken care of, and most of the time you make sure everyone else's needs are met before you even consider your own. And that truth, or that truism, is a leading cause of some of the stats and figures I'm about to show you. Because we've been talking about heart disease this month. We've been talking about cholesterol today. But I want to talk to you about an issue related to heart disease, because I've lost one of the most important people in my life because of heart disease, because she ignored it. My mother, God love her, she's basically followed the same path as her mother, who was so important to me, thinking that, I'll just, have a surgery and, that'll take care of it and I'll be able to do what I need to do. And she just basically blew through all the warning signs. So this is very close to me. And, my wife has, basically lost the genetic lottery and has to deal with high blood pressure related issues. So, the heart disease issue and moms or families is very near and dear. And I want to make sure that everyone hears this, because you need to. Ladies, these are the stats. Heart disease is the number one killer of women, hands down. It will kill more women than cancers, respiratory diseases, and Alzheimer's disease combined. You need to understand that and don't bypass the warning signs. 90% of women have at least one risk factor for heart disease right now. That's right, 9 out of 10 of the ladies that are on this webinar right now have a warning sign for heart disease, and a lot of you don't even know it. Now here's the other issue. 64% of the women who die from heart disease had no prior symptoms. So a lot of you are going through life right now. You're skipping that annual physical. You're not paying attention to your health. You're taking care of everyone else's needs before your own. And you'll take care of it if something happens. But the reality is this. 6 out of 10 of you will die of heart disease before you even knew that you had the disease. Get checked up, please. There's a lot of people counting on you. The reason why the picture before was, imagine your sons, your daughters, your husbands, the people that care about you. Imagine not being there. Imagine them having to grow up without you. Just imagine what that feels like, when all we have to do is get you to take care of you. Remember, if you can't take care of the person in the mirror, how are you ever going to take care of the people that you love and care about? So, take care of yourself. 1 in 4 die within 1 year of the first heart attack. So of the 36% that survive that related issue of heart disease, guess what? 1 in 4 of them die within the first year. So that's another 9%. So not only do the 64% die immediately, another 9%. That gets us to 73% of people are dead within a year. And then, of course, a woman dies every minute of heart disease in this country. That's how severe it is. So, we don't typically go Debbie Downer. We don't typically do, these PSA type things. But this is one of those situations, a lot like, when I did a presentation for, prostate cancer in men. The reason why it's a killer in men is because men don't go get their annual physical. The reason why heart disease is a killer of women is because women take care of everyone else before they take care of themselves. So spend the time, do what's necessary, take care of yourself. Trust me, your family will appreciate it, and your loved ones will most definitely appreciate it when you're around longer to do all the things that they want you to do. Everything that we teach here at ID Life and on these Lunch and Learns is all designed to basically give you the information that you need to understand that diet and lifestyle choices are creating your nutritional gaps. Be them small, be them large, they are all contributed to by your diet and lifestyle choices. And the whole idea behind these Lunch and Learns is to give you the information to make informed choices so that you can make a better decision, so that you can change the behavior. Because really, we're not in the body modification business here. We're in the behavior modification business. So it's not changing the body, it's changing the mind, it's changing the way that we do things. It's understanding that our health should not be something that we wait till it breaks to do something about. Because a large percentage of us never get a second chance to fix it once it's broke. So just remember that.